watching Germantown Municipal Television, your source for everything Germantown.
Hello and welcome to another episode of Focus on Germantown. Thank you for joining us. I'm Mayor Mike Palazzolo, and it's my privilege to be your mayor and host. Each month, the focus is on city government, how it provides services, and works with you, our citizens, to make Germantown a great place to live. For a number of years, the Germantown Police Department has been offering a training course on dealing with active shooters for other law enforcement agencies. GPD has since opened up their training courses to civilian organizations. We will begin today's show by talking with GPD Captain Nick Godwin and Assistant Fire Chief Jeff Beaman about the success of the GPD's active shooter training. Then we're taking a trip outside the studio and heading out to Thornwood to get an exclusive walk-through tour of the property with Spence Ray, the developer from McNeil Commercial Real Estate. Finally, we will end today's show back in the studio talking with Public Works Director Bo Mills and Assistant Director of Utilities Andy Sanders about the roles that Germantown's Public Works Department plays in keeping the city in top shape. It's great having you guys on the show today, and we really appreciate as a community providing active shooter training for our residents and for many organizations. Please help us understand a little bit about how this got started.
So Mayor, we for years have taught active shooter to police officers. The FBI's alert model is what we've always taught. And about 2 years ago, or a little bit after that, a church day school reached out to us and said, could you do an active shooter training program for our classrooms, for our teachers, and if you can, what would that look like? And to that date, we hadn't done anything like that. We'd done safety inspections, but never a real class for our teachers. And we sat around and we talked and we said, you know what, that's a great idea. We need to be on the leading edge of this stuff. We need to come up with something in Germantown that is unlike any other city, that we are aggressive in our campaign to partner with our schools and teachers on providing good, realistic training on what they should do in that type of incident. And so we sat down and decided to just come up with a course and tackle it head on.
Well, I hate to use the term the new normal, but unfortunately in the days that we live in, this type of occurrence could happen anywhere, whether it's school, a church, a movie theater. So it's very important to have our citizenry trained. So who are some of the other groups that you have trained in Germantown or the greater region?
So since we started, we first took care of our schools because that's what was most important to us. So the Germantown Municipal Schools, the 3G schools in Germantown, the Shelby County schools. Then we started reaching out to private schools. I say reaching out. The program actually was so successful, everybody reached out to us. We started getting contact from Christian Brothers, from Briarcrest, from ECS because we had done their elementary school campus, and you said, you know, we've got citizens who have children in these schools too. We need to go take care of them. And so we went with that, and the next thing we knew, medical facilities started calling, office buildings started calling, all of our city buildings for, you know, the GAC, GPAC,
Sure.
and all those places started calling, and so we handled those, and then we even went so far as we did one for Pike Fraternity to get out to their fraternity houses so they would have it. So really anybody we can help, we're trying to help.
Well, and I know Pike's national headquarters is located here at Southwind, and
Correct.
I think their director is one of our residents. So this is great. We've provided a service not only to our residents, but the greater region. And, you know, explain a little bit about the relationship. Chief, you're one of our firefighters and lead the fire department, but this is something that you have done a little bit different. I've been through active shooter training that the FBI provides. Explain how this is a little bit of a hybrid, because I think you maybe not teach triage, but you teach people a little bit about how to react to the situation. Maybe you can expand on that a little bit.
It's really a twofold approach, Mayor. With Nick's presentation, as he referred to the alert, avoid, deny, and defend curriculum that they use to teach what do you do if you're confronted with that situation. What Nick did was he realized that we need to add a component to the program. What do we do if the person does cause violence? How do we teach the population, the community to react to help others who are injured until professional help can arrive? So in addition to the avoid, deny, and defend, we teach bleeding control through the use of tourniquets, airway and breathing management, and how to treat for shock with basic equipment that most people can have or use around them to give a victim a better chance of survival.
Well, and we don't want to get too graphic today in our descriptions, but maybe help us understand a little bit about once the team comes into a facility or a school, they may be looking for the bad guy, and as such, they're not necessarily going to be treating people. So as part of the training that you need to be able to not necessarily get out of the way, but help the first responders by not getting in their way? Or
Nick, I'll probably let you answer that one on that tactics side.
Okay, so yeah, on the tactics side, Mayor, when we design this course, we tell them our first priority as law enforcement is to stop the threat to your safety. The fire department's going to be coming to treat people. That's their job. Our job is to stop this person from hurting people. And that's going to be our focus until we get it done. And in the meantime, we couldn't sit there in good faith and develop a course and say, we're going to go do that, and have them sitting there thinking, well, what do I do? So that's when I called Jeff, and I was like, man, would you please come on? And this course honestly wouldn't be half of what it is without what he teaches, because we may be teaching active shooter, but the people that have been through the course could pull up on a bad motor vehicle crash and have the tools they need because of what Jeff's taught them to intervene and potentially save somebody's life. And that's what this is all about.
Sure, and now has the training become something that is on an annual basis with our school district, with GMSD? Are y'all going into the schools each year, or is it on a regular basis?
That is correct. So we designed it to, we'll come every year and teach the teachers and in-service and all those types of things. And so far it's looking more like twice a year, even more, as PTAs ask us to come teach them. And the course has been so popular and the teachers have enjoyed it so much, we're actually going even more often than that. And we are all about it. If they want that, we'll give it to them as much as they want, and we try to give them better than each time, so it's not the same thing over and over again, that they get better and better at it every time we teach.
Well, and they change personnel each year, so you're
Correct.
getting some new people as well. You've been very popular. I know you've had to set aside time on your schedule to make sure that you provide the service that you normally do in your day-to-day functions, but also schedule people that want the training as well. Maybe tell us a little bit about what I call the new norm. And it kind of hit me. I volunteered at our GMSD Stampede, and I know that our first responders set up their equipment a certain way, and that was to provide, I guess, more safety for the participants, so maybe a van couldn't come in and run through the crowd. The new normal today, I think in the old days when I was growing up, a sawhorse would keep someone safe or keep pedestrians safe. But today's environment is a lot different. Would you agree with that? And what can we do better to arm ourselves, not necessarily with firearms, but arm ourselves with knowledge?
Yes, sir, and I would definitely agree. It is a little different, but I don't want that to scare people. All that means is we just need to be intentional as law enforcement and as citizens in our approach to keep ourselves safe. And so what that means for us is we don't use sawhorses anymore. We put heavy vehicles in those places. We put SWAT assets at major city events to make sure that if something does happen, they're not waiting on us to get there. We're there ready to defend them before anything ever happens. And that's just, it may be the world we live in, but the training is a great example of that. The public taking this training gives them tools they need to prepare themselves. And it's not a bad thing. It has created a relationship between us and the public that is nothing like I've ever seen in my career. You know, I used to do events, and police would do a good job of getting out in the community and meeting people. We now do 3-hour classes where we learn each other's names and know each other. And now my wife laughs because we can't go anywhere without teachers coming up to Jeff or I or anything like that and saying, hey, we know you guys, you taught us. And that's what it's all about.
Well, we're so grateful to have your service, and I know our community loves our first responders, police, and fire. So thank you. The Germantown Police Department provides incredible resource for the public, all while forming working relationships among law enforcement officers and members of the community. If your organization is interested in receiving active shooter training, contact Captain Godwin at 901-751-7556 or nggodwin@germantown-tn.gov. We'll be back after this quick break.
See on page 4 that the projections need to be tornado next Thursday.
Seriously? Thursday? Can't do that.
This is really inconvenient.
I have yoga that day. I have no time for this. So,
I can't do Thursday, but I can do Friday.
Disasters don't plan ahead. You can. Talk to your loved ones about how you're going to be ready in an emergency. Don't wait. Communicate.
You are watching Germantown Municipal Television, your source for everything Germantown.
Welcome back to Focus on Germantown. We're here today at Thornwood with Spence Ray to talk about this exciting new development. Spence, welcome to the show. This is truly exciting. What a great day to be outside as well.
Couldn't be better, Mr. Mayor.
Great. Tell us a little bit about Thornwood and maybe what inspired you and your group to create what I call a village.
You know, we started the planning aspect of the Thornwood development almost 5 years ago. It's been under construction for a little bit over 2 years. And during that time period, what we saw on paper has come together, and you can see it in a vertical visual illustration and of what people are going to encounter when they visit the development or when they live here. And we think it's unlike anything that's been built certainly in the western part of the state of Tennessee and in suburban Shelby County. It's really an experience that we're offering to the residents and the customers that come to the development. And it encompasses retail, residential, a place for them to eat, a hotel for them to stay, or for their relatives or friends to visit. And so it's really a unique experience that we're trying to offer.
Well, we have a public park here in essence. Tell us a little bit about, you know, there's a lot of brick here, a lot of masonry, a lot of steel, a lot of concrete glass. It has, I think, replicas of different places in Savannah and England and in Charleston. Tell us a little bit about the investment you've made.
When we started the planning of it, one of the things that we had done was to look at the historical areas where mixed-use development or urban planning have been successfully done and have retained the character of that. And you can start back in Europe, in Paris and Rome and London and cities like that, to where the buildings that were built 1,000 years ago exist exactly as they were today over that period of time. And when you look at that and ask yourself, how does something retain its character and its value and desirability over such a long period of time? And so we looked at those cities and we looked at the projects there. And so the materials that you see consistently are brick and limestone masonry, things that time is a friend to, not an enemy of. The materials are very expensive and they take a long time to build, but quality is something that typically is expensive and it does take time to do, but we think that that's something that the residents and the visitors are going to appreciate. And so from a vertical aspect, what you see here is all limestone that was quarried out of the state of Indiana and brick. The roofs on the clock tower is copper. The clocks came from the oldest clock company in the United States. It's been building clocks for almost 200 years. And sidewalks are wide with planters and benches. We've got a park that you would see if you were walking around Chicago or New York or London. It's basically a place for the people that live or visiting here to go out and have the ability to read a book or eat lunch or experience the outside without having a yard to maintain.
Wow. Well, let's take a tour.
Okay.
We got time today.
Sure.
All right, well, join us. Well, Spence, we're here in the residence of Thornwood. Give us a little bit of a feel for the amenities of the apartments here.
Well, Mike, I was telling someone this morning that one of the things that we strongly believe is that the quality of development plus a sense of community end up giving a quality of life. Those A plus B equals C. And so when we started the planning of this project, one of the things that we asked people was, what is important to you from the standpoint of what's inside your residence and as well as a part of the community. And so inside the project, we have focused on a real high-end kitchen area, tall cabinets, all wood cabinets, built-in appliances, and the bathrooms as well, all walk-in showers, something that you would see in a very high-end hotel. When you go into the common areas of the project, we've got an exercise workout facility that would be comparable with a very nice project that you would see in a city that was nothing more than a workout facility. We've got multiple sports courts, pickleball, bocce ball, shuffleboard, putting greens. We have an incredible pool area with fire pits and barbecue grills, and then multiple dog and pet walk areas that are fenced in with benches so that you can allow your pet to exercise or spend time outside without necessarily having to have them on a leash. You have to be there with the pet, but it still gives you the sense of not having to keep your dog on a leash all the time.
Wow. Where do I sign up? Well, let's go look at retail next. How about that?
Sounds great.
Good. All right. Well, Spence, this is Market Row, and it's a combination of retail and residential. Share with us a little bit more in detail about this area.
It's a unique part of the development, but one of the things that when we started planning the whole project was we knew that the ability for people to dine and to entertain their guests was certainly a part of life that is important, and so Market Row provides that ability for people to come and shop. It provides them a place to not only eat, but to have a variety of different dining experiences. Nuke's is going to open in about 3 weeks. They were one of the first tenants to commit to the project. We have a fine dining restaurant named Moondance that will open sometime around the first of the year. We also have 2 other food establishments that we're very close to signing that will provide a dessert venue and another restaurant dining option. We hope that when the project is complete, we'll be able to offer people at least 5 different dining venues for them to eat.
And you can live here too, correct? Above the retail, is that right?
Absolutely. What you see on the second floor is 25 larger units. They would be loft type, a residential atmosphere like you'd see in an old cotton warehouse in downtown Memphis or in Savannah. And so the windows are larger and the units are a little bit larger, but they provide elevator access, reserved parking, most of the amenities that you would see in the residences, but just a smaller floor plate because it's combined with the dining. But it does give someone the ability to literally walk out the door of their unit, go down 1 floor in an elevator and walk in a restaurant of their choice.
Well, we're actually in a parking lot, which looks like a courtyard to me. So this is parking, there's more parking underneath, correct?
It is. This project has 250 parking spaces dedicated to the Market Row side of the development. And so when you look at a project this size, typically you would see 3 or 4 acres of asphalt parking lot. All of the parking here is front door or literally right underneath the actual shops and dining establishments. So it gives you immediate access to the front door of where you're going. And not only that, if it's raining or inclement weather, you don't have to be exposed to that to go and eat dinner or to shop.
Well, I can't wait to when the Grove at GPAC is finished, I'll eat dinner at Moondance and walk over to a show. That's great, Spence. Thanks.
Thank you.
We're here in Market Row in one of the studio living spaces. Tell us a little bit about this area.
Mr. Mayor, is one of the residential units in the Market Row portion of the development. As you can see, offers a lot of light, large windows like you would see in one of the historical cotton warehouses that they've redone in the downtown area. And we believe that the people that are moving into Market Row many of them are targeting this particular phase of the development because of what GPAC is doing across the street. As a matter of fact, we've had customers who have specifically chosen the unit to be able to look out on the GPAC development. So this is the portion of the development that will provide them with immediate dining choices, immediate shopping, as well as reserved parking.
And how many units are above retail here in Market Row altogether?
25 residential units above 34,000 feet of retail and restaurant on the ground floor, and then a total of 250 parking spaces.
Wow. Spence, thank you so much for sharing your time today and giving us a tour. We really appreciate it. We can't wait till you're open in early November.
We are excited about being a part of Germantown.
Great. We'll be right back with you in the studio.
Of all the things you've done with your bike, donating it to Goodwill may be the most incredible of all. Your donations help fund job placement and training for people in your community, which means your stuff can be more powerful than you think. Goodwill. Donate stuff, create jobs.
You are watching Germantown Municipal Television, your source for everything Germantown.
Welcome back once again to Focus on Germantown. The health, safety, and comfort of this community greatly depends on the efficient and effective operation of the city's Public Works Department and its responsibilities for water, sewer, streets, drainage, grounds, and animal control. Here to talk more about Public Works is Director Bo Mills and Assistant Director of Utilities, Andy Sanders. Welcome to the show, fellas.
Thank you, Mayor. Appreciate you having us.
Well, we kind of almost in the intro went over all the different things that Public Works does,
Yeah.
but maybe let's drill down a little bit more into that. I think I like to sometimes say that, you know, the men and women of Public Works are those employees that also wear a uniform. They also protect and serve our community, not like fire and police, but they do so in so many different ways. So tell us about grounds and water and utilities and all those different things.
So many of your base level services that you receive, you know, in the city, water and sewer and roads that are safe and parks that are clean and well maintained and just taking care of the stormwater system and providing animal control, those are housed in the Public Works Department. You know, we affect you every day when you turn that tap on in the morning to get that first glass of water or flush that toilet or drive on our streets. You know, the men and women of Public Works have done their job to have that ready for you that morning.
Well, tell us about, you know, we know that police and fire are first responders. There's right at a little over 200 of those folks that work at the city. How many folks are in Public Works in all the different areas of Public Works?
So there's 70 total. We're 70 strong. We do contract out or outsource some of our services, so there's still responsibilities of Public Works, but not handled with city employees. But our 70 are a very dedicated bunch. Our average tenure, Mayor, is 17 years of service in the Public Works Department. So that gives me confidence that we have people that are very experienced and very capable and ready to serve.
I like the term you use over there a lot. Your guys and girls, they don't rust. They're constantly working, they're constantly moving. You may have to oil them a little bit because they're always on the go. We're very proud of their work. Andy, tell us a little bit about utilities and water and some of the things. Now, I know you came over from Tuscaloosa, Alabama, and you've been with us now right at a year at the city of Germantown, so congratulations, and we're glad to have you. So share with us a little bit about what you do at Public Works.
Sure. I manage our utilities division, which encompasses our 2 water treatment plants. We have our main one is on Southern Avenue there by the Public Services Complex, and also our water treatment plant off of Johnson Road as well. So we are able to supply our citizens with good, clean drinking water, potable water for all of our citizens. We can supply up to 24 million gallons a day through those 2 treatment plants. And we also supply, of course, sanitary sewer collection services. We maintain those lines and we discharge our sanitary sewer to our Memphis outfall. So,
well, your friends over in the Germantown Fire Department received a level 1 ISO rating this past year, and that doesn't happen just inside of a proverbial vacuum. It's all about water pressure as well. So maybe let our citizens and residents know a little bit about why that's so important.
Yes, sir. It means a lot for all of our citizens to be able to turn on that faucet, as Mr. Mills said before, and have a good, reliable source of clean drinking water, as well as water for your daily usage. Make sure that those pressures at optimal pressure points, and ensuring that everybody has a strong shower in the morning, and able to do whatever they need throughout their day. So we're able to supply that to we go above and beyond our ISO standards in order to make sure that not only fire suppression is there and available to our fire department, but also that our citizens have everything they need.
Well, I know we're in the planning stages right now in the area that was our most recent annexation area in the Forest Hill Heights area. We're bringing some improved utilities there. Just a little overview of some of the things on the horizon for water pressure there and other sewer services, I believe.
It's a great point, Mayor. Yes, we are continuing our services down that way. When we annexed that area, it was under a different system, and we actually bought some of that system and some of it we didn't. But our goal is to eventually own it all. So our purpose now is to try to get more water from our system down into that region of the city. We're adding a 12-inch main down Forest Hill Irene, and then we will continue that 12-inch main all the way to the city limits down Forest Hill with a future project. We're also hoping to put in an elevated water tank out that way to help us to balance our system and to have adequate pressure for our entire city. We need a redundancy that elevated tank would bring. But just looking to expand the water capabilities down there so that we can be ready for any potential growth that might come in that part of
Well,
town.
and redundancy is a good term in governing right now because, you know, when we've sent some of our folks to Tennessee Task Force 1 to go to natural disasters and some man-made, maybe speak to the importance of having redundancy in utilities and in sewer and water, because at the end of the day, you know, if we have that disaster, we would have to rely on somewhere to get that water.
Absolutely, Mayor. We're very passionate about that too in our prep. But we have one single elevated water tank in our city that basically governs the pressure for the entire city. Heaven forbid something happens to that 1970 model elevated tank, we wouldn't have elevated pressure to keep pressure on our system. We talked about ISO ratings and having the pressure for our fire department to be able to provide the services to extinguish fires and to provide our services for our residents. But we need that second site, another site in a distance away from that one, so that if a tragedy does happen, we have a backup, we have a secondary source. And it's about resiliency. We want to be able to keep the water available to our residents no matter what could happen. We want to be able to bounce back quickly and restore services as quickly as possible. And that helps us do that, having that second elevated tank.
One of some people forget that animal services or animal shelter is under your purview. It's one of my favorite places to visit, and my daughter learned how to volunteer there many, almost 20 years ago. Tell us a little bit about the animal shelter. I know it's had a lot of renovations. It's got a strong friends group, and we're a great shelter. We're very proud of that shelter.
It is a great shelter. One of our performance measures as a department is centered around the animal shelter, and it's release rate. We want to get those animals back home if possible, first and foremost. If we find one loose, we want to get it back to its owner. If we can't get it back to its owner and that time progresses, you know, we hope to adopt it out or get it into a foster system so that it has a chance to find that great home. We do have a tremendous volunteer corps there, over 300 volunteers that come and go and help us with our animals, and our friends group is very strong, always doing fundraisers, always supporting the shelter, and they give us the ability to do things that we might not be able to do normally. They help us fund, you know, special treatments for a certain dog that could get to a home if we can get this particular treatment, and the friends help us with that. So it's a really good group, good management there. It's a good shelter.
That is a great group. We got about 30 seconds left. I'm always like to sing your praises. I'm proud of you, Bo, on your presidency of your national association, American Public Works Association. Andy, it's great to have you on board as well. Bruce and all the other guys over at Public Works. I always feel very at home when I come by to visit. It's a great group of our employees, and so I'd just like to thank both of you, and please pass that word to our fine Public Works professionals. Thank you.
Thank you.
I'd like to thank all of my guests for being on the show today. I'd also like to thank you, the viewers, for taking the time to focus on Germantown. If you'd like more information about this show or any shows on Germantown Municipal Television, please visit www.gmtvonline.org. We'll see you when Focus on Germantown returns next month.